The Golden State has everyone dreaming of living the luxurious beach life. With its popularity boosted by celebrities living in the state and its perpetual presence on our TV screens, California has become the place where people think the opportunities are endless and one can always find their passion there. It's home to some of the most famous landmarks in the country. Combine this with California's mild weather and coastline, and you have a very desirable place to live. However, it's not all rainbows and butterflies. California is crazy expensive and almost impossible to live in when you're on a budget. From rents to taxes, everything costs more in California. If you're thinking of moving there, it's best to stick around until the end to find out why the Golden State is so expensive. But before we get into that, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Now we start with housing. Let's start with the thing that takes away the biggest chunk of your income: housing. So the question is, why are California housing costs so high? Well, at its most basic level, it's a story of supply and demand. Lots of people want to live here, and there aren't enough homes to go around. After all, the state's population is almost 40 million, the most in any state in the US, but that's not all. Many other factors determine the housing costs. There's one thing the vast majority of housing experts agree on. Over the past few decades, California hasn't built enough housing to keep up with the number of people who live here. Unlike New York, California barely has an apartment culture, resulting in fewer houses. California is a state with lots of progressive regulations aiming at reducing carbon emissions and preserving the environment. In March 2020, median home prices in California were more than $600,000, nearly 88% higher than the national median of $320,000. The average 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom home would set you back over $2 million in some California cities, while a similar home would cost less than $100,000 in many other US cities. How crazy is that? Meanwhile, the average monthly rent for a 2-bedroom apartment is almost $1,900, about 55% higher than the national median of $1,200. Ouch! Everyone just wants to live in California, so it's really just supply and demand. And there's a bigger chance of seeing your favorite celebrity walk down streets than in any other state, so definitely worth it. Don't you think? Next is the weather. I know you've been waiting for this entry. One of the reasons everyone wants to move to California is the weather. In fact, California has 840 miles of coastline, which makes it very attractive to people who want to live by the beach. The ocean provides endless options, from swimming to surfing to fishing or just taking in all the sights up close by boat. The mild climate along most coastal areas has allowed California beach towns like Malibu, Santa Barbara, and Santa Monica to become tourist hotspots. Rents in these areas are extremely high, but hey, at least you can overdose on relatively cheaper seafood. Next, we have transportation. Another thing that's expensive in the Golden State is gas. Due to the state's focus on environmental protection, Californians pay the most taxes and fees on gas. There are extra state and local taxes and fees that can add up to almost $1.20 before the cost of the gas itself. On top of that, California is quite far away from refineries in the Gulf Coast, so there are extra transportation costs as well. If you're thinking of ditching your car so you can save yourself from this expense, think again. The mass transit system isn't reliable in many cities, so everyone owns a car because of long distances. California has over 25 million licensed drivers, beating out New York, Texas, and Florida by nearly 10 million individuals. The state also leads the race in the number of road accidents. It feels like everyone on the road is a drunk toddler. If you decide to keep a car, be ready to pay through the nose. Californians' annual car insurance costs are about 20% higher than the national average. It's expensive because the traffic is dense, people drive harsher, and there's a higher chance that someone else on the road is either underinsured or has zero insurance coverage. Everyone who owns a car in the state has their own car nightmare stories, from accidents to cars being stolen to breaking down. You can ditch the car and consider other options like public transport or walking. But in the words of the great Johnny Drama, nobody walks in LA. So there's that. Now we have utilities. As mentioned earlier, California is a very progressive state that takes carbon emissions very seriously. The state is moving towards renewable energy like solar and winds. This is why electricity is more expensive in California than anywhere else in the US. Yes, electricity from coal and oil is cheaper than renewable sources. Welcome to the real life. Hence, utilities are more expensive in the Golden State. While Bakersfield might have cheaper housing, it is one of the highest utility costs in California, nearly 43% higher than the national average. There are some places like the Orange County where the electricity cost is less, so don't be afraid to crank up the AC, because you'll be needing it. Next up, of course, we have taxes. If you really want to move to California but can't because it's pricier than most states, you might point the finger at taxes. The Golden State is famous for having the highest income taxes in the country. They range all the way up to 13.3% for the highest tax bracket. On the other hand, Californians in the bottom bracket only pay 1% of their income to the state. California also has the highest state-level sales tax rate at 7.25%. So if it feels like California taxes you for breathing in some cities, you're probably right. To maintain the infrastructure and services for a state with a population that is larger than most countries, California needs to rely on higher taxes to keep up its public works. Next up, we have higher wages. One reason for California being expensive is that the wages of workers are higher than in other parts of the country. Silicon Valley attracts talented developers and engineers who can work at world-class companies like Google or Facebook. For example, some salaried technology workers make an average annual wage of $124,000, whereas in other parts in the United States, the same worker would only make an average of $70,000. With such high-paying positions available, it's only reasonable to understand that other prices will increase as higher wages pay for them. Next is other expenses. Healthcare is higher in the Golden State too, with San Francisco having the highest cost, 30% higher than the average city in the nation. As for shopping, the cost of groceries in California ranges between 5 to 33% higher than the average US city. The average price of cereal and a half gallon of milk in Sacramento is nearly 7%, a whole dollar more than the national average. So if you spill your milk in California, it's okay to cry. Just let it out. And of course, we don't want to forget Hollywood. You can find everything California has to offer in some other place and probably at a lower cost, but there's one thing that place won't have, and it's Hollywood. One of the biggest reasons California is so expensive is that Hollywood was essentially born here. The movie industry has its earliest feats based in the Los Angeles area, and Hollywood is a notorious part of Southern California culture. Many famous celebrities make their homes in this part of California. Wealthy residents and tourists flocking to the area mean that businesses can charge more in this area of California, as many of the residents have the means to pay for it. The burden also falls on the people who don't have the means to pay. But hey, that's Hollywood. Up next, the land that gets you. What does your dream place look like? Is it a place where everything you hope comes true and everything works in your favor? Well, California is precisely that state. People move there to find themselves, even while being on a budget. California has a lot to offer in terms of opportunity, with varied landscape and weather patterns, which provides a little something for everyone year-round. Many first-time visitors gravitate to well-known spots based on their likes and preferences. Geographically, it offers a wide range of natural landscapes such as large mountain ranges, vast deserts, lush forests, and direct access to the ocean and beaches. Aspiring actors and actresses may flock to Los Angeles, Beachgoers might try San Diego for size. Surfers might dip their toes off the coast of Huntington Beach. Tech people might try their luck with a startup in Silicon Valley. California is a place that's for everyone, no matter if you're looking to start fresh or just retire. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Would you want to move to California? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and also subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. See you in the next one.